Do not follow where the path may lead. Instead, chart your own path and leave a trail. The genesis of establishing Asian Center for Corporate Governance goes back more than 2 decades, when Mahendra Chauhan had a tête-à-tête with Sir Adrian Cadbury, a global authority on corporate governance. What transpired between the two led to establishing a think tank called Asian Center for Corporate Governance, focused on Asia region but global in terms of its vision to bring best practices from around the world.
I'm generally asked as to what triggered the formation of Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability. So some of you may recall that in 1997-98 there was an Asian financial crisis, which of course started from Thailand but later on spread all across the world. So while we were convinced that the way corporate governance is practiced in different jurisdictions is largely impacted by the cultural issues of those countries, and therefore Asia-focused center as Asian Center, but we thought we should not be missing on what is happening in the rest of the world, and we should bring the best practices from United States and Europe and other parts of the world.
This led to a search for global advisory board members. Mahendra got lucky to convince Mr. Mervyn King and Mr. Roberto D. Ocampo to join the Global Advisory Board. The 3 visionaries co-founded Asian Center for Corporate Governance more than 2 decades ago on 14th March 2001.
I speak to you today in my capacity as the chair of the Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability, a chair I've held for the last 20 years. When we started in 2001, I was the mentor of Mahendra Chauhan, and what an excellent mentee he turned out to be. He has led the center with passion and dedication from inception.
I can hardly believe I was that much younger when I first joined the center, but since then the center has become a leading advocate in promoting corporate governance and sustainability, and I am very proud to have been a partner with Mr. Mervyn King as a Global Advisory Board member. I did join the center not only upon the prodding of Mr. Chauhan, whom I congratulate for his fine and excellent work with the center, but because I felt this was not just a question of education, but it was a cause for promoting governance and sustainability. Now the center has become a strong advocate and a leading light in this most important field, not only in Asia and in India, but perhaps in the world as well, since this subject matter has spread out through all the business communities worldwide.
Recent surveys have shown that India is quite adaptable and is quite well respected with regard to corporate governance. But that does not mean that we become comfortable with the expectation that the foreign investment will come without us making the efforts. And it is with this intention that the ACCG, that is the Asian Center for Corporate Governance, has been formed.
Today, Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability has completed more than 20 glorious years of its institutional journey and is on its path towards a silver jubilee. Asian Center owes its success to the Global Advisory Board members, Mervyn King, Roberto D. Ocampo, Chris Pierce, Moses Cheng, Izumi Kobayashi, Mahendra, Nasser Manji, Dhanraj Gir, Minu Sharaf. Asian Center owes its success to its global and regional speakers, jury members and award winners of leadership, corporate governance, sustainability, and CSR awards. Asian Center owes its success to its global network of over 2,000 directors, chairmen, MDs, CEOs, and CXOs.
What is very commendable is that Professor Chauhan and his team have developed a global network in this corporate governance and sustainability space. Very key space as we know it, something that's very important not only for today but for tomorrow. And with 20 years behind, I know that they have an illustrious, long journey ahead.
Asian Center also owes its success to thousands of corporate friends and well-wishers from around the world. The foundation of Asian Center rests on 4 pillars: advocacy, research, training, and consulting.
I have been very proud to have participated in many of the center's activities over the years, and in doing so, have built a wonderful relationship of trust and mutual respect. I have no doubt that the center will continue to build on the 20 years of advocacy, research, training, and consulting, and will create an even more powerful legacy.
Asian Center recognizes the companies, industry leaders, and directors who are doing exemplary work in improving governance standards and sustainability practices. Today, Asian Center's leadership, corporate governance, sustainability, and CSR awards have assumed a coveted status and have become a part of the yearly calendar of corporate India. Awards and recognition motivates leaders and companies to do more, and this eventually raises the bar.
I do believe that by having these awards, we're able to continue to look at benchmarking and raising standards around the country in terms of what is right. And it enables replication of best practice, and the documentation that happens of those awards again helps with dissemination of best practice.
The Asian Center for Governance and Governance and Sustainability has also helped in recognizing many of the leaders in sustainability, in corporate governance, in leadership, in being independent directors, and almost a dozen awards are given each year, which are coveted by the industry and which are seen as hallmarks of excellence.
The signature events of Asian Center are Director Power Breakfast Meetings, CEO Power Breakfast Meetings, International Conferences on Corporate Governance and Sustainability, Asia Business Responsibility Summits, GRI Certified Sustainability Training Programs conducted by Professor Anita Chauhan, Head Sustainability Training and Certified Trainer for GRI Sustainability Programs. In order to promote diversity on boards, Asian Center launched the Women Director Network with the support of IFC. In order to promote SDGs, Asian Center has launched the Mervyn King Academy for Sustainable Development in Asia in 2019 with the support of leading organizations like Tata Chemicals, Aditya Birla Group, Godrej Consumer Products, Nestle India, Infosys Technologies, and Deloitte India. Advisory board members are Mervyn King, the patron himself, Mahendra Chauhan, Justice B. N. Sri Krishna, Yoris Vurhuwe, Nasir Manji, and Sailesh Haribhakti. Let us hear what some of the eminent persons have to say about the Asian Center.
I cannot emphasize enough the importance of the Asian Center, especially during uncertain times. For instance, COVID-19 created profound challenges for boards across the world. Boards have had to address several factors during this period of unprecedented uncertainty, such as managing investor expectations, addressing cybersecurity concerns, as well as identifying and responding to risks. Your institutions, such as the Asian Center, played a very crucial role.
If I look back, their journey has been stupendous, and they have particularly excelled in 3 different areas. Number 1, in disseminating knowledge and best practices with regard to sustainable governance practices in India and globally, and thereby bringing in new knowledge and new insights to Indian professional community. Number 2, year after year, the Asian Center has recognized outstanding individuals and institutions who have made a great contribution to the movement of corporate governance in India, thereby inspiring others to follow the great standards set by these institutions and individuals.
It is my pleasure and a wonderful experience associating with Professor M.K. Chauhan for the tremendous work that he is doing in the corporate governance under the umbrella of Asian Center. This is one of the most important initiatives in my point of view in terms of bringing amount of governance and sustainability to make sure that the corporate world has a very good guidance, learning from different parts of the world.
Well, it's now overwhelmingly clear to most of us that this world can only function for everybody in a more sustainable and equitable way if business steps up to the plate. It is no longer enough for business itself to be a bystander in a system that gives it business life in the first place. Responsible business has discovered that it needs as much the Sustainable Development Goals as that the Sustainable Development Goals need business. No longer is it enough to run a business model that undermines the well-being of people and planet. It was World Overshoot Day last year at July 29th. That is the day that we use more resources than the world can replenish. It is key that we start thinking about net positive business models, not the ones that work on being less bad, but those that actively work on making this a better world for all. Otherwise, why would we let these businesses be around? Congratulations to Mahindra and the Asian Center for its tireless efforts over the past 20 years to bring good corporate governance and corporate sustainability practices to Asia. With Asia on track to top 50% of the global GDP by 2040 and driving over 40% of the world's consumption, it represents a real shift in the world center of gravity. Your partnership with sword-like organizations around the world, your stimulating events, enlightened research, and advocacy make it one of the most important think tanks and catalytic institutions in the region.
Today, ESG is a subject which is much talked about and debated and discussed. But at the beginning of the millennium, the steps taken by Professor Mahendra Chauhan, I believe, were pioneering efforts. And over the years, Professor Chauhan and the Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability have taken several steps to raise the standard of governance and sustainability.
Let me start by congratulating Mahendra and his team for just a fabulous initiative and a journey over multiple decades now on a topic that, frankly, could not be more important in today's time. Net zero pathways and carbon containment and topics like that are now simply top of mind for virtually every CEO that I get a chance to meet.
I know that you were huge advocates of environmental, social governance, ESG for business, long before it was well known as a phrase and being advocated around the world. And I'm confident that you will be part of setting the new trends and the new issues and themes as businesses tackle the challenges of the years to come.
The Centre has been tireless in its mission to elevate, evolve and improve the practices of corporate governance in India. We have all been beneficiaries of the wonderful spaces that have been created for peer learning, for more formal education, and most of all for shining a light on the areas that we need to improve.
Every independent director of the country has benefited from some interaction with the Asian Center, has been rewarded for excellent, outstanding performance, has felt connected to the center. And therefore it is small wonder that whenever you have an event or you have an interaction, it is always hard to find a seat at the table.
It's a pleasure to congratulate Mr. Mahendra Chauhan and his entire team at Asian Center. Mr. Chauhan has been at the forefront with this Asia Center on this issue, and we are thankful to him from the stock market fraternity that he has been flying the flag of corporate governance, which is absolutely important for the growth of Indian economy and also for the prosperity.
If an institution is to live 100 years, the bedrock for long-term success and survival is corporate governance and sustainability. This institution has done commendable work. They have trained a galaxy of leaders in this area. And I would say that many people who are today at the center stage in the corporate world have gone through some sort of a training through this institution.
When Mahendra is asked, having built institutions like Mahindra and Young Knowledge Foundation, Asian Center for Corporate Governance and Sustainability, and Mervyn King Academy for Sustainable Development in Asia, what next? Mahendra's modest response is, institutions are more important than individuals. Asian Center and Mahindra and Young Knowledge Foundation are going to continue their focus on promoting and accelerating the sustainable development through better governance. I'm certain that the next 25 years would be almost as exciting as the last 20 years. I have no doubt that these institutions will live many decades beyond my lifetime. The spirit of Mahendra's future journey is reflected in his favorite poem by Robert Frost.
The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.